Oh, there you go.
All right, here we go. Okay, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to No Budget Productions. I am going to be hosting the show today because Vance is having some technical difficulties. My name is Zam, Master of the Multiverse, and I'm here with Gary Later, also known as Bossman. I'll be referring to him to that on a few occasions. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing real well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Daniel Vance. Good evening to you. So we, us three, including Vance as well, and hopefully a lot of you guys out there too, we've all seen Masters of the Universe Revelations. I'm trying to refrain myself from using the word He-Man because the He-Man is not in the title of this show. Now, I didn't know what I was expecting prior to watching this show. I just thought it would be maybe quite episodic, similar in the vein of the previous He-Man incarnations, but this was very different. This was serialized, and what I liked about this show very much was it fleshed out considerably the supporting cast. Now, before I get Gary to give his opinion on this, I myself thoroughly enjoyed this show. I mean, it started off with a bang. We got to see a lot of the most popular people within Eternia on both sides, good and the bad, with Skeletor and Trapjaw and Triclops and Beastman and Evil Lyn, and then we got to see He-Man as well as his alter ego of Adam, or Adam and his alter ego of He-Man. We got to see the King and Queen. We got to see Man at Arms. We got to see Teela. We got to see Cringer, aka Battle Cat. We got to see all of them. It was absolutely fantastic, and it just started off with a massive bang with Eternia. Sorry, I apologize. Castle Grayskull being taken over by Skeletor, who'd always been wanting to get Castle Grayskull from what I remember in the past. And we excuse me, and we got a massive epic battle between both He-Man and Skeletor, where both of the characters ended up dying. So we fought. I mean, by the way, there'll be spoilers in this. I do apologize for not mentioning that earlier. It was a fantastic first episode. Before we continue further into the show, Bossman, how did you find that opening episode? Because I was blown away by it. It was absolutely epic.
It was a phenomenal first episode because I think that what this had to do was feel like it was a continuation from the 80s show, because that's what this has been promoted as. So I thought it did that pretty well. The only negative that I found with this show, and this is the only one, this is like picking the biggest nits, was the music wasn't really as epic as I thought it could be. But that's literally me going through and thinking, is there anything that I really didn't like? And that's the only thing, because because like in the old show, there's like Snake Mountain had its like music, and Grayskull would have its music, and the castle where the King and Queen had its own music, and within that, I didn't really notice it. Whereas in the 80s show, I didn't notice it. So I thought it was a great start to a great episode. And when that happened, I'm allowed to go into spoilers yet, because
spoil the fuck out of it.
Right, so if you don't see the show, just like turn it off now. Okay, so like when like Skeletor hits the orb with his staff and it starts to break, and then He-Man hits it with the sword, and you see it like spraying, and he literally looks over to and disintegrates. It was like, oh my god! It's literally like, this, and like literally from then everything starts going downhill. I mean, like literally, like He-Man is not the fact that the entire world is now starting to basically fall apart.
Mossman dying was like in the first episode. Was like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Because no one ever dies in the 80s cartoon, but there was a lot of people who were killed, of significant characters that were killed. During the course of this show, Orko was killed. Obviously, Adam He-Man was killed. At the beginning, Skeletor was killed. Mossman was killed. It was kind of remarkable them doing this, and I really appreciate that because we as kids watched this cartoon as kids. I mean, this is basically meant for us 30s and 40s and 50 somethings who watched this when we were a lot younger, and so we're appreciating the fact that it has matured for the adult audience, because we're the ones who are going to appreciate this the most. And I like the fact that they killed off so many characters. And we, like I said before, we had the fleshing out of a lot of characters as well. But before we go into all of that, I like the fact that Skeletor, played by Mark Hamill, the legend, used that sword as a key to open up this box to get this sort of power thingy, which was a bit weird. That was the MacGuffin of the episode, I guess. And let me just quickly read some of this stuff here. I couldn't believe Orko's death bothered me as much as it did. I hated that little rascalin as a kid. I like the fact that he was still a fuck up, because what I remembered when he was fucking up all the time is that he was a fuck up when it came to his magic, and he still was a fuck up. But he died a hero. I liked it.
But the thing is that in the show, they deal with the fact that he is like that, that he was given a different name by his parents, but Orko stuck because he could never look up to that name and stuff like that, and he always wanted to be something better than he is, and he's just like, it was like, my God, I actually feel sorry for Orko. In the show, Orko was always the annoying, so he had the same sort of voice in this, but he actually went into depth in his character, and I actually cared about him, which is something that and was like. And when he dies, he dies fighting off basically the Lord of Death. He's literally he looks like Skeletor's older, more badass brother, which is something that I never thought I'd say, but he literally looks like that. And he's throwing all these skulls at him, and he's literally like the game's Grim Reaper. He's like, I want your fear. I can't do the voice, but it's like I want it all, and all this sort of stuff. It's like, my God. That the guy who got to play Death or Lord of Death, I didn't really pick up his name. I would have wished that they'd said his name, but he was really good. Because the fact that everything he felt through everybody was just so encapsulated everything that they feared. That it was shadows and darkness and stuff like that, and I like that.
Well,
so good.
I was saying after the death of both He-Man and Skeletor at the beginning of the episode, and we go into episode 2, you kind of figure out that Teela's going to be leading the show, and I knew instantly once I saw that a lot of people are going to have a problem with this. Now, I don't have a problem with this because Teela herself is quite a special, magical, powerful character herself. She's the daughter of the sorceress, and I think in this version she's still the daughter as well of Man-at-Arms, the proper daughter, not the stepdaughter. And so she always had a purpose in this show, but it was never really fulfilled, and now we're starting to see it fulfilled, and I have no problem with it as well. The way with her being the main lead of this show and being on this quest. Initially she was some sort of mercenary, but then she, because I like the fact, actually, I'm going all over the place here. I do apologize. I love the fact that she only found out that Adam was He-Man after He-Man died. She had no fucking idea. I had no idea the Queen knew. And the Queen, by the way, is from Earth. Remember that? She's from Earth, the Queen. And she was an astronaut, I believe, who ended up on Eternia somehow. But she knew, Man-at-Arms knew, Orko knew, Cringer obviously knew, and the Sorceress knew. And she never, and she got betrayed by that. And I like how that portrayed. What do you think?
Well, the fact is that it was Sarah Michelle Gellar did the voice, so I was already invested.
Yeah.
But the thing
Buffy
is
herself.
that that a lot of people, it's got women's and minorities crowd are calling this holy woke and all this sort of stuff. It's like, it's literally called Masters of the frigging Universe.
Yeah.
It's not called He-Man. It's literally called Masters of the Universe. It's not just about him. It's about everybody. They developed everybody. Like what Kevin Smith did was an intelligent thing, which was get rid of He-Man, elevate everybody else to his level. So
He-Man and Skeletor, so even the villains got a chance to get elevated.
Yeah, so like Beastman, Merman, like when Merman was literally like controlling the oceans and had like these like almost like Lovecraftian like things. Well, not Lovecraftian, but as close to Lovecraftian as you can in a kids show. I love the fact that we got to see, the that the bad guys and the good guys had to team up to try and save Eternia from basically what Skeletor do, which is basically to screw it over. So like you said, if you don't fix it, it's gonna die. It's like, oh my god.
Well, they had a shared interest, and I just want to mention here, Daniel, you were saying that I felt like they were pushing Teela and Evil in being sisters, especially in the scenes crossing the ocean. No, I know what you mean. Luckily, that wasn't the case. But basically, what they were trying to push is that they were different sides of the same coin. And but I did like the fact that they made people like Evil Lynn, played by the legendary Lena Headey from Game of Thrones, aka Cersei. They made her a more sympathetic character. A more understandable, more sympathetic character, and her trying to find a purpose as well, which was interesting. Even people like Beastman, seeing Beastman on the side of the goodies, it felt right. He really did. And just seeing even like other characters like Triclops, who I like seeing him being some sort of evangelical, leader of a digital tribe, which was beyond bizarre, but it worked. It really did.
No, but I thought like he was like the one who fitted best into the void left by Skeletor, because he was the new face of the bad guys.
Yeah,
which was quite. I mean, as again, like I love the fact that like not everyone in the bad guy went along with what Evil Lynn was trying to do. Beastman was one of the ones, because obviously he has deep feelings for Evil Lynn, and I find that was interesting that they developed those characteristics. Then we actually got to explore these characters in full 3D glory. They weren't just side players who were there for He-Man to go around and punch. They actually were developed characters, and that was something that I really enjoyed about this show, was that I actually got to care about the characters who before maybe they would get maybe like a couple of lines in the 80s show, but here they got fully fleshed out backstories and stuff about their personalities, that maybe that Evil Lynn isn't total horrible person, but she was like going, well, I feel bad that I had to fulfill Skeletor's, but I never filled my own dreams and desires. It's like, well, that's rather interesting. I said, but
I agree.
But I do think that as I said, the best things about the show were the little bits of character development, that that Man at Arms wanted Teela to come back, that when they went to the Land of the Dead, it was a really great episode. I think that's one of the best. That was one of the best episodes. Was when they're in that Land of the Dead, and you see that horrible, Master of Death, what was his name? Sorry, Scareglow. Is that really what it's called? Scareglow.
Scareglow, yeah.
It's got some soul glow.
I don't know. It looks a little bit like, if you ever watched Batman Beyond, it looks a little bit like the nuclear skeleton it had from that. But it was really good. He's going, I want your fear and all this sort of stuff, and it's like that thing was creepy. I don't care if you're an adult or not. That thing was really creepy as hell. I thought, as I said, Orko so redeemed himself when he started doing the magical shit, the magical circle stuff. I literally the Lord of the Dead had to like struggle through these portals he created. It was just like, that is so awesome, and I just wish that Orko could survive, because again he earned it.
Were you a fan of the swords being split in half and having a double purpose, like a yin and yang? Because I almost felt like maybe She-Ra is going to come on the scene, and then one of the swords is going to go to her, and Adam keeps it. I thought that's how it was going to happen eventually. Because it didn't happen like that.
Because they're connected to form a thing that connects the universe. That highest power of the universe. So I thought the way that they explained that, that was. The most boring episode was the one after that, which was when he's on. What's it called? When he's on, because that's the last
in heaven.
Yeah, it was basically in paradise, whatever, and he's got like Lord Greenskull.
Yeah. That heaven seemed like kind of boring. Like, we're going to just chase fucking animals all day. It's like, that doesn't sound. It didn't for me. It sounded just as bad as hell, to tell you the truth. But I did. You know what I liked about this as well? We got to see a lot more Adam. I really liked it. I really liked seeing more.
Because I was going like,
You know what I mean?
no one wants to be there unless it's until him. But it's like, so even now they're pointing out that this guy, He-Man, is just a
manifestation.
Yeah,
I can never say that word properly.
Yeah, of his real what he wants to do, but if he doesn't have the physique for it, so basically He-Man lets him do those things. So
well, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, the thing I enjoy, and first off, you guys taking over the show while I was having internet problems. Bless your heart. So if I phase in and out, like let me know, and I'll bleep right out again. So thank you both.
No problem.
The thing I really enjoyed was the fact that they took the references to He-Man being kind of corny, to the fact that the Adam is, kind of the younger, lesser character, and that was his take on, this is kind of the Captain Marvel-ish, Billy Batson, take on this is a hero, so it kind of took nod to the corniness, of, the old jokes, because if you go back to the 80s cartoon, they were full of the, looks like Skeletor is all wet, kind of corny jokes, and that's
one-liners,
little kid. Yeah, and it's, to me, I love that nod to, the 80s cartoon stuff. The one thing that I thought about the show, going into this, everybody's, knows about the Kevin Smith, opening his mouth and saying, this isn't a Tila show and all this stuff, and the drama going into it. And I tried to tune a lot of that stuff out. When I watched it with my own opinion, and not form an opinion ahead of time. But watching the show, I really enjoyed it. I didn't see it as a woman, empowerment type show. I just saw it as, well, this is a show, it's very much in the world of He-Man. If Tila saw these things of like everybody around her is lying, this would be a natural progression, and it's an interesting story, because that was one thing I never really cared for Tila in the old show. I thought she was kind of a boring character, who had an interesting story that she's the sorceress's daughter, but we didn't, I never really cared for her. This was the first time that I actually found Tila interesting. Even in the 2002 He-Man show, I found her kind of boring. So this is the first time that I actually found her interesting, and the fact that it with He-Man and Skeletor gone, what is the world of Eternia? This really, this was not what all the quote unquote haters are saying about woke and all this stuff. I'm just like, you're misinterpreting what the story is about. To me, I found it really interesting that, in a world without He-Man and Skeletor, what is this new world? Like you guys are talking about Triclops being this kind of cult leader. That's really interesting. Magic is gone. Now, technology has taken over, and you get to see all those old toys that we used to play with. I mean, it's basically, that first episode is basically like all of us playing as kids. This is what we used to pretend to play. It was great.
V-Man, when Triclops made that father drink that liquid and he turned into a robot, and then later on that girl and her head just spun around like that, like the fucking Exorcist. Fantastic.
Oh, it's creepy as fuck, dude. Oh, it was creepy as shit.
I loved it. It just showed there are stakes, and one thing I liked about this was there's a lot of stakes in this as well, which very much appreciate. But going on about the woke stuff, I knew instantly the moment Tila was going to be leading the show, that there was going to be a lot of fanboys out there who are going to be complaining. I was all over Twitter as soon as I finished watching this shit, and I saw people going, Kevin Smith, you've ruined my childhood. Stuff like that.
To me,
absolutely ridiculous stuff.
If this ruins your childhood, then your childhood is way too easily, it's built on a foundation of sticks. Because to me, this was a great continuation. I still enjoyed the 2002 series better. But some of these people have said, they preferred He-Man They wanted a series of He-Man punching people in the face, but I mean, we got that with the 2002 series. Now, I would rather that have continued with the third season being them fighting Hordak and whatnot, but we didn't get that. But to me, this was something that was, hey, we saw 2002. I certainly don't want to go back to the old Filmation series because I can't watch that anymore. Now I can watch that with Royce, but I can only stomach so many episodes before I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go do the dishes. I love that for what it was when I was a kid, but that was to sell me toys, and it worked. But I can't watch that anymore. So this to me this is not the 2002 series. This is something, a story that, a different story told. And I enjoyed it for what it was. Now some people have said, well, a lot of people have said this is the Teela show. I don't see this as that. I see this as, Teela may be the lead in the series, but it really is an ensemble cast. You do get a lot of Orko. You do get, a lot of Man-at-Arms. You do get enough of the background characters. This is really an ensemble group. With the lead being, Teela and Evil Lynn, but it's only because they were the supporting characters of He-Man and Skeletor who are removed from this group. Again, that's the story you're telling, which is an interesting development. And the cliffhanger, shit, man. And again, this is only
Fantastic.
part one. It's not the complete story, and that's what, again, in context. I hated Orko as a kid. I know not a lot of people did, but I was one of the ones I didn't care for him. You made me care about him dying. Congratulations. And now some
and the
people
robot
have said
died as well. Sorry. If
yeah,
you don't mind
Roboto.
interrupting.
Yeah,
Roboto, when he
you're
died
fine.
and saying that how he had fear and stuff, and that was amazing. I almost shed a tear for that. That was just, and I just love the fact that we had some of the most popular characters and like the characters die. I mean, I would never expected that, and I appreciate that. I'm glad there's an evolution to this show. It's not it's not a rinse and repeat of the 80s. It's taking it to another level. And as somebody who's also watched the WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and recently Loki, all three of those shows are about the supporting cast, and this is also about the supporting cast, and I fucking love the fact that we've got to see so much more. So there's more to these characters now than we ever thought that was possible. And I can't wait for part 2 just to spread it out. I already know who He-Man is. I already know who fucking Skeletor is. But the other guys, I'm not so sure about, and I'm glad we got more out of it. Fantastic. I loved it.
Dude, sorry. Go ahead.
Hello?
Oh, okay. The drop your jaw moment that said this isn't the drop your jaw moment, was when Skeletor just lights Moss Man on fire, and you're like, oh shit,
Just killed him just like that in the first episode, first minute.
Yeah. I mean, there was enough nods to the old He-Man movie, when Skeletor's like, let this be our final battle. There's enough nods to the old He-Man cartoon. Like you said, we know enough about He-Man. We know enough about Skeletor. And they keep doing throwbacks to the, flashbacks of, Teela and He-Man and whatnot. So for people to say that He-Man's just not in this, I disagree with you. For me, I don't need to see that. We've already seen enough of that. Give us this world that continues, like you said, the evolution of these characters. And again, this, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well, the thing that they did was that they actually made He-Man special. Because the thing is, what the old show used to do, and I don't know how much the old show used to have, they used to have the transformation every episode. Whereas this, it happens at the very beginning where he, does the entire transformation, and you see it in all its glory and all that stuff, and you have that nostalgia bit. But then after that, you don't see it because, because he's died, and then the next time you see it is when he gets it out again. He's got the return sword, and he does it to get the universe back into order and stuff like that. He does, by the power of Grayskull, and like the light comes down, and everything starts reforming. You actually expect him to start training to Trevor, and this is the. Can we go into really big spoilers about the ending now?
Yeah, go. Yeah, it's all spoilers, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're good. You're good, man.
Yeah, But when he's about to say, "I have the power," and then all of a sudden you just see blood coming out of his mouth. It's like, what the hell?
Fantastic.
And then we don't see it. We just see like him fall, and I will go, "Oh no!" And then we just realize it was Skeletor all along. And you was there going, "I was in." You think I was like, "Oh my god!" So I just seen what I thought I'd never seen, which was Skeletor kill Adam, and I'm just literally on the floor.
The bad guy won, and you know me, I love bad guys fucking winning.
Yeah,
I love it.
He pulls up, when he got the sword and then left it lots of by the power of Grayskull, and he transformed into the thing, and he turned into basically, I don't know how do you describe this, like mega Skeletor. I don't even know, like he looked like weird. He had like a lot of like green, dig on bleed on a lot of like stuff like that, and it's just like, and that was pretty decent. As I said, like, you know, the thing that they did, and they did this at the yeah, exactly. So like, I mean,
Phil Coulson for sure.
because I think the change they did, because usually what happened in the old series was Power of Grayskull would turn him into He-Man, and I Have the Power was the rest of it, but they didn't do that here. Power of Grayskull is the only first bit, and I Have the Power is the actual transformation word.
Some people got offended by that. By the way, Bossman, when he was with the first, we only got to see the Adam turn into He-Man once, which was unfortunate to tell you the truth. But nevertheless,
it was great.
It was great. But when I saw him go, like, you know, by the powers, go out the power stuff, and he got all this shit going on his body, I felt like, you remember that show Centurions, where the guys go power extreme, all this shit going on their body.
I thought it was good when you see the ghost bracelets, and when you saw the He-Man vest.
Oh, when that fucking H came on his chest, I was like, yeah, I'm going to shoot my load right now. Fucking loved it.
I said, like, you know, the thing is that it was, as I said, the first fight was great. And then again, like, the thing is that, like, when he's about to do the second one, you actually want him to do it. Like, when he pulls the sword, you're like,
yeah,
you know,
I was like, I've been waiting 5 episodes for this shit.
And then when he was about to say, "I have the power," and as soon as you saw the blood, you're like, "What?" Because because the thing is, you weren't expecting it, because you've never seen him that many interrupted before. But what you did, and you literally saw him like just drop, and it was like, "Oh my god!"
But Evil Lynn as well. Like, you thought she went on an arc, but just when it came to that moment, like, she's at that crossroads. Have I genuinely changed, or was I only doing what was convenient? And you realise she was only doing what was convenient. And she's still Evil Lynn, you know. And
but I did think it was interesting when she said, "Oh, I started to like you."
Yeah, she did, because they all bonded, you know, but they all had the same cause, which was to save Eternia, because they all live on that bloody planet, you know. Like, it makes no sense for any of them for that planet to be destroyed without what was going to happen. So they all had the same purpose, but once the purpose was sorted, you know, the lines were drawn in the sand again, unfortunately. And she ended up being just as, you know, she ended up always being the person she was, you know, an untrustworthy person, unfortunately. And to know that,
I don't know I don't know if it's necessarily untrustworthy. I would use the one word to describe her: survivor. I mean, you know, untrustworthy maybe, but I mean, thinking about it, like, she does do what's best for her. In this regard, like, Skeletor is obviously the one in power. He-Man's no longer a threat. You know, her friends are all but kaput at this point. I mean, look at Orko. I mean, everything she says is completely in the moment and true and honest. But she's a survivor. She's not untrustworthy, because Orko, when she's talking to Orko, she's 100% in that moment. She's 100% real. That's not untrustworthy, because she's being 100% real. So I believe that she's completely trustworthy, but she's survivor.
Well, she's got no morals, I guess, maybe.
I thought when she was having that conversation with Orko, you know, that she changed a little bit, because, like, the thing is that they had a moment where they were connecting on a deep personal level, like, because the thing is, because we got to see more of their characters, the fact that they're not these one-dimensional evil / good guy, you know, people, you know, Orko's not just the gesture, you know, maybe his magic doesn't work the way he wants it to. You know, he's got a lot more depth to that, you know, that he feels himself to be a failure and all this other stuff, and it's like, and we got to see more of that. And with her, we got to see the fact that she does have feelings. She is like sympathetic, and she was actually looking felt like a real human being. And when she just goes back to Skeletor, it's just like, yeah, she is just like a heartless bitch. I hate using that word, but she just is.
I like the way Skeletor, when he came back, called her Linny, but it just reminded me of Mark Hamill's Joker a little bit, which I thought that might have been a little callback to as well. And I also remember there's so many callbacks as well, like when they were in heaven. I think it's called Paternia. I'm going to call it heaven for the sake of it. They had those flying discs. Now I believe that we only ever saw them in the movie with Dolph Lundgren. I don't think they were ever in the television show or the cartoon. Or am I wrong? Those flying discs. Remember those discs?
No, they're in the Master Universe film. So I
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're in the Dolph Lundgren movie. So that was a callback to that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
They were never in the cartoon.
I did fanboy hard at that, to be honest with you. So it was like, do you remember these? I was like, oh my god, they're from the Dolph Lundgren film.
And then they made Grayskull, the man Grayskull. They made him black, and I thought, oh, here we go again. There's gonna be a lot of people are going to lose their shit over this.
When I saw that, and it says Hellsbert, and I was like going, how long before the I hate all woke things mob start going over this? And again, I was watching something before this. Somebody who was subscribed to, I'm not anymore. Started on about holy woke and flaming it's a totally woke shut. Fuck the fuck off. Grow the fuck up.
I totally agree.
It's literally called Master of the Universe. It's not called He-Man. It's called Master of the Universe. And again, what it did was the intelligent things is that we all know who He-Man is and Adam is. We don't know who the rest of it is. Again, he can always come back. He can come back. There's nothing wrong with him now coming back and conquering Skeletor. This will be his greatest adversary ever, and that's probably going to be a good story.
Now, I'm not sure if I want He-Man or Adam to come back, because then it takes away. Like, he's died twice. If to bring him back after his second death would not be good. I would like Adam to stay dead. I would like He-Man to stay dead. And him, because that would be so unique for a show like this, which was constantly based around that character, to kill him off for good, and then have a new champion, which could be Teela. I have no problems with that, because like I said, there was always something special about her. They always made out her to be a bit special. Then now they're fulfilling it, and she seems to be a very honorable person, regardless of her feelings. And I wouldn't mind her taking the mantle.
Sorry, they did have. They did have, and forgive me if I do cut you guys off. My internet is still a little glitchy, so I don't mean to. If I do, I know they usually do like seasons 2 with a lot of these Netflix shows. So I'm confident we probably will, even with fan backlash. Some of those, quote unquote woke fan backlash. I'm convinced we'll probably still get a season 2 with this. But I agree with you. Like I think they should keep Adam dead, because to have him die and then come back and then die and then come back, I think the one thing about this series that I really enjoy is the evolution of the characters that they've taken, and the fact that we've gone in different steps. And don't forget, Teela is the daughter of the sorceress. So, there is a destiny for her that we still are not fully aware. And they still haven't touched upon. And she, they keep tiptoeing around that issue. Sorceress talks about it, and then she's like, nope. So they walk to the line, and then they back off. Then Duncan talks about it, and then he backs off. So they're planning something with that. And in the comics, I think they had a follow up to He-Man. I forget who the successor was. I think it was supposed to be Hero, and the guy who was in that Eternia Heaven. So I don't know why they had that, but so to me, it's not outside the realm of possibility to have another Eternia champion. I don't know if it would necessarily be Teela though. Because to me, the way they've established certain things, to have like a rotating cast of like, hey, we're going to focus on this character this season and this character the next season and this character, like to constantly have something evolve. Because they have, as they've shown in the first episode, they have so many characters that they can just pick and choose from. I don't know if they would necessarily have it just be Tila,
I want to basically answer Daniel's question here. The fact, I think they made it out. I think they kind of set it up that he wasn't going to come back. I'm hoping that's the case.
Yes, because basically what they said was if he chose to leave heaven, he would just die. That would be the end of him.
Yeah, if he died, he would never go back to heaven again. He would be worm food for real. And
I thought.
He never actually died. You saw him stabbed, but I don't think he actually died. At the end of the episode, he was definitely wounded, but was he dead? I'm not sure.
And they may play that up. I mean, it's a great, for being the end of part one, it's a great cliffhanger to the Captain Picard assimilated moment, of like what is it? Is he dead? Is he not? But I mean, he's laying there. He's not moving. He's not twitching. His eyes aren't. He's just there. So we're meant to believe he could be dead. I mean, it's a great moment for all the fanboys to freak out. I personally. Yeah, I do too. Because I mean, it gets people talking. Sadly, I think they're talking about the wrong things instead of, they're talking about
They're talking about how woke it is. That's what they're talking about. Yeah,
exactly. Instead of going, hey, did they just fucking kill He-Man? I love it. I think it's great. And again, like I'm a fan of storytelling, and I don't mind waiting to see. Well, hey, how are they going to conclude this? Because to me, like I understand. Like, hey, wait and see how they conclude this. And again, once the story is done, if you're like, if you watch it and you're like, I watched it, I wanted to like it, I wasn't a fan, okay, then there you go, it's not your cup of tea. But to me, again, I watched the old Filmation stuff and I understand, hey, that was for 8-year-old me, it's not for 40-year-old one me. It's got great spot in my heart, but I can't go back there. The 2002 series, I loved the continuity with it. And with this, it's got the same great continuity, but it's going in a different direction. So I can respect what they're doing and the fact that it's a different story. And I can't wait to see how they conclude it. I can wait.
Well, here's what I think. I think that I've been a big critic of Kevin Smith because since he's started doing pop, again, this is like me from madness. This is just like what I think. That there's certain people who could handle it and there's certain people who can't. He's one of the ones who can't. And since he's done it, he's done some like terrible stuff. Like he did, what was it? Yoga hoses, and he did flaming. The one where the guy turns into a flaming walrus and all that sort of stuff. It's just really, really, what the hell? I think you need to stop doing drugs, sort of thing.
Well, I think what he was better off a silent Bob when we didn't have to fucking hear him that much. That was much better.
But this was a very, very well done. Again, if it wasn't well done, I'd say so. Do you know what? Because the storytelling was really good. It was very brisk. I mean, to be honest with you, I got through it easily. Because sometimes when you're in a series, especially one on Netflix, sometimes when a couple of the episodes could drag, but none of them actually did. They're all seem to be moving in a general direction of we want to solve this issue, and that was great for this issue. And now the next bit's going to be how do we defeat Uber Skeletor or He-Man Skeletor.
Well, there's only one person, in my opinion, who can take on Skeletor right now, and that's She-Ra. I want them to bring She-Ra into this show, as the person the Eternians have to rely on to get them out of this jam.
I think there's.
Go on.
I think there's a couple of people who could probably make a dent toward him. There's Zodiac. There's Zodak, who's a cosmic being. Who from the toy line, he was a guy who could compete in a sense. Who kind of like the equivalent of like Silver Surfer. So I would say him. There's Hordak. There's King Hiss. Then there's She-Ra. So there's four. To me, there's four people who in this post He-Man is supposedly dead, and then you have Tila, who is, you know, could gather all these different people in a post He-Man world. And then don't forget, you know, you still have Sorceress, who if she dies at some point and Tila steps up to become Sorceress, you know, and gets all the magic back, you could bring He-Man back to life there. So
I wouldn't mind that. I would love
what's
to
that?
see. I would love to see Tila take over as Sorceress. I feel that would be a good evolution for a character because, you know, yeah, I don't know who would I'd like to take over as He-Man though, or like that position, because that's also vacant if you think about it. But whoever has the sword can be that. And at the moment, I don't think Skeletor's going to be letting go of that sword anytime soon. I do feel that some of his faction will turn against him. Maybe Evil Lyn, maybe Evil Lyn. But I feel the fact that once they see him being too tyrannical and too powerful, and the fact that he doesn't really need his henchmen anymore, that they might turn on him for that, which will be interesting. So there's so many things where this can go.
I agree with you.
When is part 2 coming out?
Not clear.
I don't know. Let me look it up real quick. I'll look it up real quick. Hold on just one second. I going back to the Kevin Smith thing. I think the one thing that yeah, I think his best work is behind him. My personal opinion. I loved his. I grew up on watching Jay and Silent Bob, and yeah, like that made me want to be a filmmaker. You know, that made me go, hey, I don't need $1 million budget. Yeah, exactly. That made me think of, hey, I care. Yeah, like I loved, you know, to me that made me see, you know, I don't need, you know, the ideas are more bigger than my budget. And looking at him now, it's more like you care more about Hollywood. You know, I did see the tweet about him not liking He-Man. I did see the thing on Comic Book Man about him not liking He-Man. You know, so it's one of those things where it's like, look, man, don't lie. So I get that. I think his worst thing is he talks too much, where it's like, look, I understand because I get a lot of shit talked on my stuff, where it's like, look, water off a duck's back, man. Just stop talking. And I think that really hurt him here. Because again, I'm looking at the project and I really enjoy it. I think this is a really good product and it's something I support, and I'll support part 2. I've bought 2 of the toys, but again, I look at his overall work, and I didn't like Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I didn't like Tusk. I did enjoy, what was it, Red State or whatever that yeah, like I enjoyed that one, but only because of how over the top and relatable I could see some of the things actually happening, you know. But for the most part, I think as modern movies, it's like, look, man, go back to, you know, return to form, man. You know, go back to what I believe you're good at, you know. But again, that's a personal choice. But I think here, stop talking and let the naysayers hate what they hate and let them like what they like and let the work speak for itself. Because here, I could have very easily said, nope, fuck it, I'm not watching it. And because the drama around the project is what really drug the project down for me. But I loved the project in itself. I thought it was great. And the work speaks for itself, I thought.
So Daniel Vance has said, I think Evil Lyn will turn. They made a point in her talk with Orko saying that she added that she wasn't born evil. I guess, but I think she's very Machiavellian. And she's always going to side with power, regardless. And but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if she turns on Skeletor, because I think she's always wanted to be the most powerful person. She might end up being the new big bad by the end of the 2nd season. You know, there's every possibility. And I wouldn't mind that either.
Oh, God. Listen to the Anti-Woke Brigade talk about that.
Well, you throw She-Ra in there as well. They'll fucking go woke. I've never known men to be so insecure about women having leading roles. I mean, I swear to God, when Aliens and Alien came out, if those films came out today, they would be calling that shit woke, because Sigourney Weaver was playing a very smart, intelligent, tough, independent woman. And that would have been too woke for them.
Why couldn't it just be that they want to just do a good show that happens to have women in front of it?
Well, yeah, exactly. For some guys are just very insecure, and a lot of these guys are incels and shit. They like to see their women playing damsels in distress and love interest. That's where they like to see them.
Yeah, so what V-Man was saying, I do agree with that. I do think that he should have stopped talking because the thing is, he said initially that he wasn't really a He-Man fan, which is fine. I mean, like, hey, there's some people, like, for example, the person who did Wrath Khan, who produced Wrath Khan, had never seen an episode of Star Trek, the original series, in their life, but went back and watched every single episode so that they could do it properly. There's nothing wrong with not being a fan as long as you do that homework.
Yeah, I agree.
So it says here, it says, with regard to the second part of season 1, or what we call season 2, here's what we've gathered. The good news is we do not have to worry about whether or not the show will continue beyond 5 episodes, but unfortunately an exact premiere date for the following set of episodes has not been announced. Despite the pandemic disrupting the schedule for the most productions, the show seemed to remain unaffected. Animated series seems to be easier to produce during the ongoing pandemic since the team can work remotely, which is not the case for live action productions. More than 2 weeks before the show's debut on Netflix, Dark Horse Comics launched a 4-issue miniseries that served as a prequel to the events in season 1. The first issues released on January 7th, 2021. New installments of the comics will release on a monthly basis through October 2021, and the second issue is set to roll out in August 2021. If the upcoming season of the show follows in the footsteps of the freshman edition, we can expect Masters of the Universe Revelations Season 2 in August 2021. So it's their best guess. We should expect something in August 2021. But that's their best guess. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I've already asked him that, Cousin Cheetah, by the way. Yeah, and by the way, this prequel's idea is interesting because this will then at least keep the dickheads out there happy that they're finally getting their muscle-bound, possibly gay guy, because they never like to admit that, He-Man or Adam, probably bats for the other side, but nevertheless, they're going to possibly get this person in his own show, and that's probably what they want, which is probably why Dark Horse Comics are doing this.
I just have this because I like messing with stuff. And it's the closer things
I have what do you call it? A stylus in my hand, even though I don't need it. But I like to use it to clean out my ears.
But I do think that I don't know. I mean, I hope that they do keep Skeletor because I think Skeletor's a great antagonist. And again, I'm usually against character death, to be honest with you, unless it's trying to tell a good part of the story. And the ones in Nest told a good part of the story that they were like sacrificing life for purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's it'd be good if Merman came back, and maybe still mind about what happened with in the second episode.
Yeah, and by the way, you saw like some of the voice talent we have for He-Man. I mean, not just Mark Hamill, but we had Lena Headey, obviously, as Evil Lynn. We had the guy who played that. Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar as Tilo. We had the guy who played Lord Davos as Duncan, as Man at Arms, which I never knew that was him. Henry fucking Rollins was goddamn Triclops. Yeah. That was amazing.
One of the things, like Sarah Michelle Gellar, like the drama again, going back to the drama behind this fucking show. Like Sarah Michelle Gellar said, this show will make it made Taylor relevant again, or something to that effect. And forgive me if I'm paraphrasing.
Liam Cunningham, yes, thank you.
Like everybody before this show was saying how Tila was always relevant. She was always and again, I'm looking at it from taking a step back and going, I don't know anything about this show because I haven't watched it yet. And I was not a fan of Tila before. Yes, she was always there, but it was like, I don't give a fuck about Tila because, she's a girl. I'm an 8-year-old boy. I don't care. Like, I want to see He-Man punch Skeletor. Like, Man at Arms was my favorite character as a kid. Like, I don't care about Tila. Like, so I'm sitting here watching this. Again, like, all those whiny fucking bitches that are crying about she, this is now the Tila show, and how dare her say this, and we want He-Man. Like, it made me really sit there and look at the fan base and go, shut the fuck up. I'm embarrassed for you. And it's almost like you guys are 8 years old again. Grow up.
Incels a lot of
Well,
them,
well
I'm telling you.
a lot of people said, "Oh, he was a C class IP." It's like, no, it's a really good IP. It's just because again, it's got like this really good, rich magical idea to it. And also the thing is that like stop being such a gatekeeper. People can write what they like. Again, the thing is people are trying to. Kevin Smith's telling a bit of a different story with this, which I'm all for. That we're learning about these characters.
Well, if they had given us 5 episodes of the Filmation stuff, I wouldn't have fucking watched 5 episodes of that. I'd been like, nope, I'm fucking done. Like, oh, I'm done. I'm gonna go take a nap. Because like I could not sit through that. And again, I love that for what it was as a kid. Sell me toys, great. I'm good. I'm on that bandwagon. I even had fucking Castle Eternia as a kid, and that thing was at the time like $150. Like it was a huge deal. I got that for Christmas. Like my friends are like, oh my god, that's so great. Like, I mean, dude, I had every fucking He-Man figure you could have. Like, man. So I was.
You make a good point, because if it stayed the same, then people would be complaining, saying, well, you haven't really changed much, have you? You kept it the same. So you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. They made some changes. They took some big risks with this, risks that I can appreciate. I mean, there's times when a show could be like me and Bossman, we disagree wholeheartedly with each other regarding The Last Jedi. He loves it. I fucking hate it. Yeah. But fair enough. They tried something different. It worked for him. It didn't work for me. The reason why a lot of people complain about it is over things about it being woke and shit like that. I don't hate that episode for that reason. I just don't think it progressed the film very much. I don't progress the characters very much. But nevertheless, we have our differences of opinions on it. And same with this. Like, this show has progressed. It's taking things on a different level, and it could work for you, or it might not work for you. But if the reason why it doesn't work for you is because there's just too many fucking women, then you have a problem with yourself. Because when I see stuff like that, it just drives me fucking nuts.
Exactly.
It does.
If it's because the story doesn't really move you or emotionally grab you, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it not resonating with you. There's nothing wrong with that. But the reason that it's not resonating with you is because it's too many women, or the women then you need to grow the hell up. Sorry, I'm the one who tells you to grow.
Okay, for me, when people start going on stuff about being woke, there is an air of bigotry, in my opinion, when they start saying this shit. Like, I see what the term woke used for when there's too many black people, let alone when there's too many, or basically too many non-white heterosexual males.
It's any gay people or very trans people.
Yeah,
we can't have that. It's like,
that's
they're trying to force it down the throat. No, they're trying to acknowledge that this is part of reality.
These people exist. They live in our world. You know what I mean? And the fact that somehow, if we don't keep the status quo, it's all fucking woke. And I will fight that to my last breath, because that is not how the world fucking works. I am not a white heterosexual male. I'm fucking and I never get represented in anything. Somebody like me of my race, very rarely does somebody like me get represented in anything. And I have no problems. Sorry, go on.
See, to me, I looking at that picture of the one that's splashed everywhere of Tila, Evelyn, I think Roboto, Beastman, and Orko. Seeing that picture, the one that they splash everywhere, and saying this is the and I put in quotations woke. And I sit there, I'm like, okay, I don't know, whatever with that. The whole time I'm watching the show, I'm seeing Man-at-Arms where I'm like, this makes sense for what Man-at-Arms, for what Duncan would feel. This makes it like King Randor kicked him out. This dude's a high pride military man. Like, I always saw my dad in what Duncan was doing. Like my dad was high pride military man. This is Duncan. Like this is what would happen. Like my dad would relate to this. Like this is understandable. Like there's no demasculating him. Like this isn't what's happening. Like I do not understand where these people came from. And the whole time I never saw it as, Tila, Evelyn, and the other lady, I forget her name, as demasculating the men. I just saw it as these are
she being a black woman as well. I knew that people have an issue with that.
I just saw it as every character was written appropriately and every character was written decently, and I enjoyed the way the characters were written. I never once saw them as, oh, they're all women. I just saw it as, no, they're characters, and I mean, exactly. Everyone has an agenda.
If it was just there to be like tokenish and stuff like that, I could understand if people be bad that, but it wasn't. They were there to be legitimate people.
It's not just that, but I did know that people were going to be upset by this. I knew instantly, with the world we're living in right now, this was going to fucking piss people off. I mean, even Loki woke, and that had Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, two white heterosexual males, or gender fluid in Loki's case, but two men leading the show, fucking woke. Falcon and Winter Soldier, two men leading the show. Okay, one of them's black, but it's still fucking woke. I mean, and even though they're doing subject matters which have been in the comics, but these fucking people are still calling it fucking woke, for fuck's sake.
Well, because anything that isn't white male and
white straight, heterosexual male.
Yeah, white heterosexual male. It's woke. It's like, grow the hell up, guys. Seriously, grow the hell up. Look,
as somebody sorry, boss man. As somebody who's never, like I said, I never see myself much in media. Somebody who's like me. There was that one film recently about, I think it was called Yesterday or something like that, about this guy who's an Indian guy, but he's a British Indian guy like me, and he's singing all these Beatles songs, and nobody's ever heard of the Beatles before. Remember, what I'm on about?
Yeah, I've seen
it. What's it called again? Is it called Yesterday? Yeah. And that's the most recent film I can think of. With somebody who's of my race, who's actually happens to be British as well. And then I think maybe My Beautiful Laundrette from back in the day as well, and stuff like that. So, I don't get representation much. All I care about is what am I watching? What am I watching? Is it going to be good? And then, what pisses me off as well is that when I hear all these people complaining about woke and saying, and I hear this phrase a lot, heaven forbid that they would put a white heterosexual male man on the screen. For fuck's sake, you white heterosexual males will always be on fucking television. You got nothing to worry about. You always have a place on media. So chill the fuck out and let fucking share the wealth and give other people a chance at the fucking table.
Because the thing that annoys me is that, I think it wasn't that long ago, Jordan Peele caused a bit of a stir when he said, I don't see myself casting white guys in my film. And then people going, oh, that's racist. It's like, dude, no. What he's saying is that he's trying to give people who normally don't see themselves, as you were saying himself, on camera or on film being portrayed. And to do that, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing that there's the hell of it. Sorry, it's just like thing is that there's nothing wrong with seeing females as strong characters, and they still can be feminine. I mean, that Tila's still feminine in the show because she's she's emotional because she's a human being. She's still.
That friend of hers, is that her friend or is that her partner? Because it's hard to tell.
I did too. I think it's a kid show. I don't think they're really going to go that far into.
I don't know, man. I don't know because it's animated, but it's not necessarily a kids show. I mean, they had people die in this, man. You know what I mean? So
not like totally brutal ways, but like
it's to me it left it kind of trivial. But if you ask the people who hate the show and think everything has an agenda, they would definitely say that to the quote unquote woke crowd, like they say it's definitely a relationship. To me, I have no problem either or, because I'm like, who cares? If they are, they are. If they're not, they're not. Who cares? But it's a
kid's show. who cares whether they are not? They're not going to start like stacking up like right in front of the famous.
And there's nothing wrong. And I've always said, if you have no problems with kids knowing that straight people exist and they have straight relationships, then you wouldn't have a problem with kids knowing that gay people exist and they have gay relationships.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I thought that Taylor and Adam had like a romance going on, to be honest with you, the way that they're.
I thought that too. That it was either a very unusual friendship or definitely a romance as well. But I've always thought Adam to be batting for the other side personally. The guy wears fucking pink and white. I always thought he batted for the other side, but that's just and I hope he does actually. Nevertheless, but anyways, I think I've kind of gone on as much as I can about this. I'm getting a bit too political regarding this, but roll on season 2. That's August. That's next month. No long to wait.
And fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We hope we do. So
5 episodes though. It was very easy to fly through this. This was one of my easiest binges.
Yes, yeah. If it was a rubbish show, I think it would have been a lot harder to get through, even with it being as brief it is. I think it's only like 20-25 minutes each episode.
25 minutes, yeah, man. You take out the credits, maybe about 22 minutes.
Yeah, but again, the shows themselves were really, really good.
Yeah, packed everything in.
If it was a rubbish show, then it would have felt like a slog, but it didn't. Every episode felt important. Every episode was treated importantly. The only bit that I didn't like, as I said, was the heaven bit because it felt a little bit boring. But that was like the calm before the storm almost.
So to me, if you didn't see the credits, like it would be easy to just be like, "Oh shit, that was a 2-hour." I mean, that was a 2-hour movie. I mean, it was an epic adventure. I felt, it had a definite beginning, ending. I mean, it was a great. I mean, you could sit there and watch it in the movie theater and be like, man, that's a great popcorn talk right there, man. So I enjoyed it. To me, I'm very crucial to give anything 5 out of 5 because nothing's perfect. Obviously, but I'd say it's a good 4.5 out of 5 for me. It was great. I loved it. To me, it gave me enough nostalgia as a kid. It made me want to go out and buy the toys again. I'd let Royce watch this. It was great. It was good nostalgia. To all the haters out there, hey, if it's not your cup of tea, don't fucking watch it. I would recommend this to anybody that liked He-Man. And
I like to mark my shit out of 10. I like to mark my shit out of 10, and I'll give this an 8 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Nothing's perfect. Very rarely do I give a 10 out of 10. This was definitely right up there. This was very, very good. I would recommend this to anybody who's seen the previous show. I do, I mean, I would like to give it a better rating than 8, but that's how I'm feeling. So 8 out of 10. Bossman?
I'll give it a 9 out of 10, but that's professional. But it could go up and down considering what happens in the next bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I would have liked to have seen maybe a bit more Man-at-Arms in the show. Like when they had their little team, and then Man-at-Arms, you thought they're going to recruit him and be part of that team, and he wasn't part of that team. I was a bit gutted about that. But those are just little nitpicks, nothing much really. It would have been nice to get maybe another He-Man, Adam turning into He-Man moment. We only got that once in the whole show. So other than that, yeah. So
right on.
Okay,
guys.
I think I'm done, mate.
I'm absolutely exhausted.
Right on. Well. What's that?
As I said, I'm exhausted as well. So
sorry, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning for us. I'm fucking knackered.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to thank you both, gentlemen, for coming on. And this is a lot of fun for me. I can't wait to do part 2. When we do part 2, you're both welcome to come and chit chat with me again. Hopefully, I'll have better internet. So,
and also put us in the box.
Thank you guys for coming on.
I feel like I'm in fucking Dallas right now. The opening credits of Dallas. With the put me in a box next time. I got this lovely room with lots of shit, and I feel like I'm in the trash compactor. in goddamn Star Wars, you know, getting squashed there with my big head. Yeah.
I will see what I can do to make things better. So
thank you very much.
So, all right, guys. Well, with that in
All
mind, thank you both for coming on with me tonight. And all right, guys, with that in mind,
you,
everyone
Daniel.
in the chat, thank you guys for joining us. And
thank you.
All right, guys, with that in mind, be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.